But first, we'll have a presentation by Miak01. Miak is a long time, sorry, I gave away your age, long time member of people like us. He's been working with us for a long time. But about a year ago, right? A year ago, he gave up on corporate life and went off to the States to do divinity studies. He's doing his master's in divinity. And that kind of like, no, it doesn't. Does it explain why you're interested in this? Kind of.
Yeah, kind of.
Kind of, all right? Which is going to be very, very interesting because he brings an intellectual perspective to some of the phenomena we're seeing in Singapore today. Actually, that's not just Singapore, actually. I mean, a lot of people say the same trends can be found in the Philippines, in Malaysia, and so forth. But anyway, without further ado, I'll leave it to Miak. Yeah?
Good afternoon, everyone. Let us just start with an extract for the paper. This paper was to examine unrelated events in the light of recent developments and show that the conservative majority is little more than a small conservative and vocal group masquerading as a conservative majority, and explore the strategies employed to achieve their goals and the reasons behind almost fanatical crusade against homosexuality. To give you a background, I did a course. I'm doing divinity studies in Pacific School of Religion in Berkeley, and we are able to take courses in UC Berkeley. And one of the courses that was offered last semester was a Mellon-funded course, Religion and Sexuality, from the History Department. They flew in Professor Reverend Dr. Jane Shaw from UK. She's the Dean of a divinity school in UK, and together with Thomas Lakia, who is the History Professor in UC Berkeley, they conduct this course. It was quite eye-opening course because they flew in scholars from everywhere, Jewish scholars, Islamic scholars, secular scholars, professors from New York, from Paris, to talk to us, and they were big enough to invite the Bishop of California of the Episcopal Church to take one session with us, examining the Anglican Church stand on homosexuality in the Lambeth Conference. And so for this course, I had to do a 25-page paper, and obviously when I started off, I was exploring the conservative majority and looking at 2007 during the 377A debate. Fortunately / unfortunately, to my great stress over this period, the aware takeover happened. Just when my paper was like half written, all these things spilled out into the open, and what I proposed as a possibility became reality. So my paper went like outdated, it's like you're trying to release a product and someone superseded you. So I had to change a lot of things and I do a deeper research and couldn't just use what I had. I'll try to run very fast because I have 55 slides and I have about 40 minutes to do them. One of the things that we can see, and I think some of you will know what happened here and there, and some of you might be aware of some of the events I mentioned, but some areas I might skip through or speed through very quickly. The vocal minority exerts its influence through its presence in political, legal, and academic spheres, and its views are amplified by the disproportionate representation in the media. Singapore is a microcosm that is an interesting case study, where there are many organizations in the United States actively campaigning against same-sex marriage, providing reparative therapy, and promoting pro-family values. All these activities in Singapore is centered around one church, Church of Saviour, an evangelical Anglican church. So the background that what happened, and I think all of you should be aware to one degree or another. The Straits Times pointed out in April 2009 that 6 out of the 9 newcomers during the Aware Saga who took over the EXCO were from Church of Saviour. So that's something that we can think about. I'm talking about the nexus, which is Church of Saviour. In 2001, COS caused the stir when he put up a banner that read homosexuals can change. And Church of Our Savior also runs Choices, the ex-gay ministry that helps homosexuals change. And of course, there are numerous sermons, even on the net, that we can trace back to the pastor Derek Hong of COS on homosexuality. It appears that, therefore, Church of Savior is the nexus of pro-family, ex-gay, and anti-gay movement. The chairperson of Focus on the Family, Tan Kwan Singh, is also a member of, guess what, COS. So this concentration of leadership within a single church suggests there's some coordinated strategy. So that's some of the background. Then, we dig out more relationships. We have the feminist mentor, Teo Soon Yen, her daughter Teo Lian, her nephew Alan Chin, his wife Josie Lau, and Angela Tang, also employee of Teo Soon Yen Partnerships. And for your information, Teo Lian supervised her undergraduate research paper, Pride and Prejudice, Law, Morality, and Homosexual Politics in Singapore. So very interesting things that, they seem to gel into one group. Now the question here is that, is there a moral majority? The close relationships cast suspicions on the idea of the existence of a conservative moral majority. And one question we will need to ask is if there's actually a vocal minority that mobilizes its constituency effectively, as demonstrated in the takeover of Aware. Pastor Derek Hong has called for mobilization of Christians and concerned people to give immediate personal feedback to the government in April 2007. COS admitted that the church staff has sent out an email calling church members to vote at Aware's extraordinary general meeting in 2nd of May. So, there seems to be things doing. So one of the terms that cropped up during this whole saga is astroturfing, and I went like, what's that? It's an attempt to create an impression of a grassroots movement, therefore astroturf, which is a fake grass, of a large number of individuals for some specific cause, while providing an effective smokescreen for the organization behind the mobilization and orchestration of the individuals. So you create a fake grassroots movement by getting a lot of people to write in and flood the channels. The church therefore becomes a fertile ground to rally support, especially when the issue is framed as the litmus test of one's faith. Now, here comes all the events that we don't really realize are pieced together or related. The beginning of the movement, well, I think they might be earlier, but as far as I trace, okay, this is my personal experience in my involvement in PLU and in the gay community. In 2002, the Censorship Review Committee was convened to review Singapore's censorship censorship policy, and it went through overhaul. The Christian community was quickly mobilized and encouraged to speak up and voice their opinions by writing to the CRC website. An interim task force was formed comprising of pastors, Christian professionals, and met with the vice chairman of the CRC in November 2002 to present the concerns of the Christian community. Now, so in the CRC's report in September 2003, they did not have offered many changes in the censorship policies, even though the 22-member panel was quite liberal and wanted a lot more changes. Okay, this is the quote from the report. Some participants, especially from religious organizations, were concerned that allowing homosexual films to be screened, the authorities may inevitably create the popular misconception that it was endorsing such alternative lifestyles. However, most of the others felt that homosexual films could be shown under the appropriate rating. Then we should stop showing films on war, rape, violence, and blah 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 blah, because you'll be endorsing such a lifestyle too.